Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Thanks for joining us as we are live from the Batcave. My name is Joel, and this is my co-host,
Nathan.
Hello, Nathan. How are you doing today?
Bro, I'm looking at my phone currently, and I'm tracking the heaters. They are in dispatch, because it's still freezing.
Yeah, it's still so cold in here. Jesus Christ, I didn't realise how cold a cave would be. Am I silly? Am I silly for not realising the Batcave would be freezing?
You guys cannot see this, but I am wearing 4 pairs of boxers. It is unbelievable.
I can see it. It's very suggestive.
Well, we'll keep that behind the waterfall, shall we?
We'll keep that behind the displayable waterfall. Yeah. So, how are you doing in general? I saw you were posting some more videos on Film Form, some reviews of Spider-Man fan films. How's that going?
Yeah, not bad. So I've started reviewing fan films, Spider-Man one specifically, but they won't be limited to that. But since that's kind of a big aspect of Film Form, that's what I've been doing. I'm also working on a 2-part review of Season 6 of The Flash entirely, and I'm also looking to review each Marvel movie, either in chronological order or release order, but either way, at some point they would all have been done, so that when new Marvel films come out, I can review them, and I already have past Marvel films reviewed.
Right, nice. Okay. So just starting a whole new catalogue of content. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, especially with lockdown, like, there's so much time, and like Film Form had a big dip just out of so much, like, both work, college, and working on like just regular films for Film Form. Like, the content dipped, but I mean, you know, we're very close to 2,000 subs, so I just thought, let's not let that go to waste. Let's get us there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, that sounds good. Nothing new's going on in my life. It's quarantine. It's COVID-19, and nothing, as always. So, what I would like to ask, though, is what is the word on the web, Nathan?
The word on the web is... Now, I would like to say that this could have been the word on the web 3 years ago, because this is when this was filmed. But the New Mutants has been given another quote-unquote official release date for the 28th of August 2020. I will say this is like the 5th release date, so...
Yes, is that actually going to be when we get it, or are we ever getting it?
I would like to say...
stringing us along?
I would like to say that it was pushed back so many times due to like it being incomplete and you know, conflict in you know, on set basically, but it was ready to be released before COVID-19, so I can only assume that unless, for example, you know, the quarantine stays longer, theatres stay shut for longer, then I can't see it being pushed back, because I think they're happy with how the film is. Well, I'd hope so anyway.
Yeah, you'd hope so by now. As soon as they paid for all those reshoots and stuff like that. Well, you know, I think maybe they will release it on August 28th, but maybe they will not, because anyone who's interested in the Marvel Universe, all the good films have come out, right? No one's interested in Doctor Strange 2, no one's interested in Shang-Chi, no one's interested in the Eternals. We're all just waiting for the New Mutants, right? So it's just, it's just when they release this, you know, and maybe they'll never release it just to keep us interested.
This is the thing. Obviously, like, New Mutants got announced in, like, I think late 2016, because they filmed in 2017. It was almost, it almost got released so many times, but, like, it's at a point now where even when the film does come out, like, the studio just has to hope that it's still as popular, because of course as well, it's not 20th Century Fox anymore, it's 20th Century, like, Studios or whatever, because it's owned by Disney.
Yeah, because it's owned by Disney now. And anyone who doesn't get irony or sarcasm, I understand it's a British art. That movie's going to be trash. I don't care when it comes out. I mean, I'm really interested in Doctor Strange 2. I'm really interested in Shang-Chi and the Eternals. I'm not very interested in this film. This film was like dead in the water to me when it was coming out. I'm going to watch it because I'm a massive fan of Marvel.
Well, that's
but
I'm going.
They're
to
not
watch
going to
it.
go forward with these characters, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, like
Do you know what I mean?
there's no way that Marvel are casting the same people again if they're part of the MCU. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If they cast Daisy Ridley again or something like that, is it Daisy Ridley? Am I getting that right? No, Maisie Williams.
Bro.
Sorry, I'm out of my head.
I couldn't have cared less whether Rey was in it or not from bloody Star Wars. Like I don't know who's in this movie. I don't care who's in this movie. I might have cared in 2018. But
yeah.
You know, not at the moment.
Maisie Williams is in this from Game of Thrones. Plays Arya Stark. And I feel like she could have quite good roles. She's a really good actress. Quite good roles in the Marvel universe. And I don't think they're gonna use the New Mutants as a way to like corner her off from the rest of the universe. I think they're not gonna have the New Mutants as a main staple thing in the MCU. In fact, they're releasing this under 20th Century Studios, right? So it's like it's probably not going to be connected to anything
Fox universe.
MCU.
If it's not its own standalone. Do you know what I mean? Like, they could just say...
Yeah.
They could just be like, what? Nothing else has ever happened in the world. Only these mutants. Do you know what I mean? So it's like... I don't think they are, but... It'd be better if they did.
It could still be connected to the X-Men universe where James McAvoy is in it.
Yeah. Do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they'll probably just connect it to that, and that'll be the end of the saga there.
Well, here's an issue for me personally. August 28th... That, my friend, is Power Ranger Day, officially, and that
maybe it's a double whammy, and they're not going to push it back until the very last moment where they tell us, "Hey, you're getting New Mutants today," and everyone's disappointed, and they say, "Psych, you get a new Power Rangers movie." Oh, bro, I would love that.
I'd adore it. Well, no,
I would love that.
But that's the thing. I don't know if I can be excited for New Mutants if on the same day supposedly Jason's coming back to Power Rangers. So I mean, they'll have to see if they have my heart with that. But like again, it's not as if I don't want to see it, but at this point it's like I just can't be bothered to see it.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, I'll see it because I have to see it. Because one, me and you, Nathan, we have a podcast.
Watch of the week.
And, watch of the week. And two, like, it's one of those films where I'm like, well, it does sort of matter because it's a film created from comic book properties, and I am, in large, a very big fan of comic book properties.
But also, the last film to come out of that studio was Dark Phoenix, and I haven't seen that for the exact reason of what I've heard from it, which was, you know, we thought Apocalypse was bad, but then they came up with Dark Phoenix, and
those movies so bad. All of them very, very bad. But hey, that's fine. I don't think they cast those movies badly either. I think they were just made badly.
Well, like,
I think some of the casting in them is good.
I didn't have anything against the casting until like when Disney acquired like all the rights and like Marvel acquired the rights to the Fox characters. Jennifer Lawrence, James McAvoy, and I forget the guy who plays Magneto?
He plays the guy in Assassin's Creed as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I can't picture his name, but basically them three were like pushing for
Michael Fassbender.
That's the one. But they were basically pushing for that if they recast the X-Men to keep them three as like Mystique and Professor X and Magneto, and it's like, why?
Yeah, why?
Like, you were good in the roles, but why, if we're recasting, do we keep you three?
Yeah, you were good in the roles, but you aren't irreplaceable.
Exactly.
Like, I get why they didn't have Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart in those roles anymore. They were aging out of the roles, even though they were like, you know, they were quite old. They weren't that old as characters. And they were aging out of the roles, and we didn't know how many movies we were going to get out of them, so they gave us a new, fresh, young backstory to the X-Men with a new cast.
Well, it's strange as well, because they was like, they're old, and then we seen them when they were young, but they just de-aged Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, and it's like, they didn't look younger, they just looked looked less textured.
They just looked smoother.
Yeah.
They looked like someone put them through Blender. So I think it's something I'll watch, but I'm not too I'm not too excited about it. But who knows? Maybe we'll be blown out of the water, and it'll be a really good movie.
Well,
and then
another thing as well is, right,
it won't
'cause,
matter again.
like, will it? Because obviously, it's been pushed back so much, but now we've got Wonder Woman 84 coming out, and also is it called Tenet? I'm not sure. Yeah. Just movie releases clashing. Do you know what I mean?
Isn't Tenet coming out in
I think
July,
it's July
in cinemas?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, well, like that's happening.
Like
people
that's
are actually going
happening.
to go into crowded places in July. There's no way you're getting me in a cinema seat in July. I don't care if the coronavirus says it's completely dissipated and the world is cured. There is no way in July you are getting me in a crowded place full of other coughers. Do you know what I mean? It's not happening.
Exactly.
Cinemas.
And I feel like the end of August release date isn't bad, but I just feel like it's too soon. Just on the safe side, even if this was all blown over tomorrow, I think the safest thing to do is at least, like, even though everyone's annoyed at how much it get pushed back, I'm annoyed. I feel like as well as that might work, end of August is still a risky move for New Mutants.
Right, yeah.
Because obviously worst case scenario is that no one watches it.
Well, I mean, is that worst case scenario? I'm pretty sure they're expecting that, right? They're not spending that much money on marketing for it. So they've literally spent nothing but the reshoots, and that didn't cost them that much. So I think for the studio in general, they got that film pretty much for free. And it's like whether it makes money or whether it doesn't make money, it doesn't really matter to them. Which is why I thought it was going to come out on streaming services, but it hasn't.
I'd prefer that. I feel like that'd do it better.
Yeah, I think I would prefer that as well. I've got a little bit of an update on some previous news that we talked about, as well as my other news that I've got this week. But Comic-Con is remaining to be cancelled, but they are doing an from-home Comic-Con.
Right, okay, so is that just...
But I don't know what that means.
I mean, I'd assume it's kind of like, you know, like people on like live stream or something, but at the same time, like, you've paid all this money, and I'm assuming, did they get refunds? I'm assuming so. Or like, did they, for example, push to next year tickets?
Right, yeah, to be honest with all that stuff, I don't know.
Right, okay.
But I just know there is a from-home component to do with Comic-Con now. There was an official statement saying that you'll have the best parking and the most comfortable seats because it'll all be from your house, and you can watch it from home. Though everything is so up in the air at the moment, I don't know how they're gonna announce things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
release dates.
They're constantly updating on it, aren't they? Because especially like, if was it last year? No, it couldn't have been last year's Comic-Con. It was the con where basically they announced Black Widow, and was it last year where they announced like the Marvel Phase 4? Was it that long ago?
I can't remember.
But,
can't remember.
Yeah, basically, like, that was such a big, event, because obviously, there was, I forget what it might have been to do with Star Wars, I'm not sure, but basically, like, that was, like, one of their biggest years, apparently, and, like, to go from that to just nothing, to online.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's going to be a big thing, the fact that we're going to have to do that from home and stuff. But I think in the long run, it's to keep everyone safe. And like we reported on last time, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that they are taking precautions and measures, because I know there are some diehard nerds that would have turned up to that if it was still open.
There are people that would have turned up.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
would have turned up and stayed cautious, and there would be people that would have turned up and been like, Comic-Con, same as last year. Nothing changed. Go.
Yeah.
Squeeze past everyone. Do you know what I mean? So it's good that they cancelled it.
No, I agree. But on to some actual news, because that's just an update. The new Kenobi series that's been in the works for ages and been rumoured for ages, we have some news and some rumours from different sources, multiple sources, that Hayden Christansen is going to return as Anakin Skywalker in the new Kenobi series. Now, what are your thoughts on that, Mr. I am currently rewatching the Star Wars and watching some of them for the first time?
there are two Star Wars films I currently have not seen. It's Revenge of the Sith and it's Solo. Solo, whether I watch that, who knows. Revenge of the Sith is the only one I haven't seen, and I'm going to be watching that soon.
It's a very big Hayden Christansen film.
It is, but also Attack of the Clones is what I watched most recently, and that's very big in terms of Obi-Wan, and
yeah.
So it's to I've seen the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Evidently, though, I know that Revenge of the Sith brings a lot more to that. But now I'm because in Rise of Skywalker, didn't Hayden Christensen come back just for his voice, for Rey, like in the Jedi Mind Thoughts, or?
Oh, he may have done. Yeah, I had someone like Ahsoka's voice in there as well. So there was definitely Jedi's voices in there, and it wouldn't not make sense if Hayden Christensen went there.
Well, because I was coming out of the cinema after I'd seen it, and I basically I just casually took a photo of the screen once the credit was rolling to be just finished this film, and it was right to the part where they was the actors that came back to do the Jedi voices.
Right.
And then I got messages that were like, bro, you just fucking spoiled the film, you know? I was like, how is the credit? And I looked and it was Hayden Christensen, and it was
also Nathan. It's illegal, mate. No flash photography.
Bro, the flash was off.
Okay, let me rephrase that.
No, it was
photography.
It was literally just a kind of it was blurry as well. It was a snap of the screen, but it was credits. But yeah, it was I think it done well.
Well, I mean, that's what you get for inadvertently spoiling things. I've got something to announce to the viewers. Nathan recently, by accident, spoiled the one Flash episode that I hadn't watched yet to me, and I was angry.
You said the one Flash episode. You hadn't watched
Yeah, but you only spoiled from that episode onwards. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, it's only because I didn't realize that. I just thought that it was a known. I didn't know that it was that episode that confirmed it. I just thought they mentioned it because it was obvious.
Okay, well, before you spoil the audience. Keep it to yourself.
I will. Go to Film Studios to see a Flash review soon.
A Flash review coming soon. I myself might chip in to do some reviews on stuff like The Flash and the CW shows soon. I want to start doing some prediction stuff, and you may see some content coming from me soon, whether it be on my own channel or maybe I'll throw something Film Form's way. But I will be creating some new content based around the CW stuff and what I expect from the HBO Max series. But apart from the Hayden Christensen news of him coming back for Kenobi, which in my opinion I think is fine. I don't hate him as Anakin Skywalker. I quite like him as Anakin Skywalker. Is there any other news that is bursting out at you?
So, I think we've talked about Avatar slightly in the first episode in terms of the amount of sequels they're doing. But James Cameron has said that Avatar 2 could still make its 2021 release date. So they were still filming for Avatar 2, 3, and however many they were doing. They were still filming. They hadn't wrapped completely. But James Cameron still thinks that they could make the 2021 release date and they don't have to delay it. How do you think that's gonna go down? Because obviously if they only have a little bit to film, then that wouldn't be as bad, but we've seen with Black Panther what rushed VFX looks like, and especially with a film like Avatar.
Yeah I think it's James Cameron though, right? So James Cameron is not going to put rushed VFX out there.
No, but at the same time, if he's still adamant that he can make that release, there's got to be some form of speed that's gone down, do you know what I mean?
Well, these are the things, right? VFX artists are a really useful tool in filmmaking these days, and it's not a tool that you have to be in the office to do or on set to do. You can be a VFX artist and still be in work right now. Yeah. Which is, a major thing. So I think because the Avatar sequels are going to be so reliant on VFX, then maybe he's thinking, well, there are still things we need to film, But in order to set these things up, these sets, these things, as long as he plans for it, maybe he does some VFX storyboards, stuff like that, gets all the materials ready, all of the things that he needs ready in the shots that he's using with his VFX artists, he can start to create the rest of the film even without the in-person shots that he's got. I think because Avatar is so heavily VFX that he may think that he can still make that release date because his VFX artists don't have to stop right now.
That is very true, but how many of those VFX artists at home have the PC power to...
I would say the studio would be able to give them the PC power that they need. Yeah, the studio would pay for that because they don't. The studio would just rent it, right? Because they're just like paying for it either way. But I think a lot of VFX artists are going to have the means to do it at home, or even go into the office but stay 2 feet apart from all the other VFX artists.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well, because most VFX, let's say, rooms, they're very much... Like, everyone has their own space. Like, everyone, for the creative, like, minds, do you know what I mean? Like, everyone...
Yeah.
Like, you see somewhere it is, like, just rows upon rows of people on computers, but...
Illumination.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, they do kind of have... Like, you can tell that each section of a room is, like, someone's own vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Especially with, like, some of the YouTube creators, like, we watch Corridor and stuff, and they very much have their own space to do their own work.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think Avatar, I don't think it's unreasonable that he can still make the release date that he needs to. I think there's a lot of work that needs to go into these sequels, but a lot of the work will probably be artificially done. It doesn't need to be done by actors on set.
Well, but that's another thing. So, has it been confirmed what's been shot? Because obviously there's some filming delays. So do you think that they went to film all of the CG section first, all the mocap, and then went to and filmed... Well, obviously not then, but were then going to film the live action stuff, or...
Well, you've got to realize also, it was reported that James Cameron is... he's making both sequels at the same time.
Yeah.
He's making Avatar 2 and 3 at the same time. So it could be that he's, either halfway through 3, but he's already finished all the shots he needs for 2, or maybe he's, done them all mixed up and he just needs to work on the shots that he has at the moment. With filming delays, we really don't know what way they've done it, because not every studio is going to film in order of narrative, right?
Well, exactly. Like Infinity War and Endgame was shot at the same time. Like Brie Larson shot for Endgame before she even shot for Captain Marvel.
Right. But what I meant was, some films aren't shot in the style of narrative, so sometimes they'll shoot the end scene as the first thing they shoot, right?
Yeah, okay.
And then they'll shoot like the beginning, like, I don't know, 6 months into production. So it's dependent on how the filmmaker works and how they filmed this. But I think with this, the same thing I said before, even if they have some shots done from Avatar 2, some shots done from Avatar 3, neither Avatar is near completion in the shots that they need from the live action actors. They can still work really hard on the shots that they've currently got.
Yeah.
Before moving forward with actors. I don't think they're at a stalemate. I think they'll still have work to do, so that's the work that they're going to be doing.
Yeah, okay. That's understandable.
Are you ready to move on to the next piece of news?
I am. I'm prepared.
All right. Cool. So the next piece of news is Netflix has picked up Sweet Tooth, the series. It's based on DC's comic / Vertigo series by Jeff Lemire. And it's a really good comic as far as I can tell. I've only read the first issue in general, and that was just because I heard about this news. But it looks really, really good and really promising. The interesting thing about this is it has Robert Downey Jr. and Susan Downey's production house working on it. So it's going to be produced by Robert Downey Jr.
I definitely feel like that's him trying to be like, I was a part of a comic book universe for so long, now I want to take control of my own. And RDJ's a banging guy. He's a great bloke. But
good man, like
yeah,
no one
but
knew.
do we think he has the capability of it, but how do you think this is gonna work? How do you think it'll go down? Because I personally, I've never read the Sweet Tooth comics or anything, so I'm just as interested as anyone else would be. But I'm assuming you have.
So I've just read the first issue, and that was because I found out about this news. The Arrow showrunner, Beth Schwartz, is also attached to the project. Right, so okay. It's a series about a comic book thing, and it's to do with DC, and it's got a showrunner from Arrow. So I think that's already something that's, they will know how to push that forward. Robert Downey Jr.'s production house, whether that means him producing it, I think that's going to be interesting. I don't know what they can do. I've not seen things from them before.
Have they done anything before?
I'm not sure. That's the thing. I'm not sure that they're about their production house. I'm pretty sure they own the production house that maybe makes the Sherlock Holmes movies. I'm not sure though about that.
I'm not too sure. I've just tried to Google it, but it's just showed me all of his movies. So,
right. Production company. I think it's called Team Downey. It's an American film production company founded by Robert Downey Jr. and Susan Downey that produces films using television properties. David Gambino is the president of the production.
Okay.
It's founded in 2010. I'm just gonna see if they've worked on anything before. So, here we go. So it worked on The Judge in 2014, and I'm not sure how well that did. It had David Dobkin as the director. But the only other one that Team Downey has worked on as producing, Doolittle.
Oh.
Yeah.
As a Welshman,
yeah,
there were a few times when his accent went bad. But then there's other let's not even talk about the film. He went on to Ellen, okay? And he was talking about the Welsh accent, and basically he was saying how people from Wales would say hello. And he said it would go, all right, but when no, it's just all right, but. Right, but, how you doing?
Right, but, like,
right? It's not alright, but.
Like?
And, like, his dialect coach was clearly, like, gave him, like, I think one of the words was, like, here, but for us, obviously, it's you. And he was like, oh, so for this word, it would have to be, you'd have to make it sound like this. And, like, the way he describes how it would sound is correct, but actually mimicking that sound is completely wrong.
Right.
That's just my little rant.
That's fine. As a Welshman, agreed. Yeah. There wasn't the right inflections. He also didn't speak fast enough for a Welshman.
Yeah,
but also, but it wasn't that he didn't speak fast enough as well, because he did rush things at certain points in the Doolittle movie. But it was that he just. You could tell that he quietened down and slowed down when he was struggling with the pronunciation of words.
Exactly, and it was things like, for example, the line we joke about all the time is, we have to embark on this perilous journey.
Yeah, well, realistically, we have to embark on this perilous journey.
Exactly. Like, there's no, like, like, he was very breathy, which, he was just,
Yeah, he was. Do you know what he was doing? He was doing a good old Tom Jones. He was.
Jones. He was looking that goose in the eye, and he was thinking, "Why, Delilah,
Delilah." Like, yeah. It was a bit dodgy. Okay, I'm not gonna let that ruin it for me. Apparently, the other movie that they did had mixed reviews, but the only negative thing I can see here was the streaming service Hulu. previously handed it a pilot order, but it didn't go anything beyond that stage. But now Netflix has offered and ordered 8 one-hour episodes of the project.
Okay. So that's...
yeah. So that's good,
that's good, but, I mean...
Good looks.
But it's kind of like, it's good that Netflix have picked it up, but why did Hulu drop it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, they ordered a pilot order and then didn't go any further. It could have been that either they didn't like the way that it was going when in development, or maybe, there's lots of ways that it falls through in Hollywood. Most things fall through, right?
Yeah.
Also, a lot of stuff on Hulu isn't going ahead to do with comic book stuff. Like the Howard the Duck series was supposed to be on Hulu. I know that's a different comic book property. It's Marvel, not DC. But maybe they're just not that interested in comic book properties after those shows fell through.
Well, what's well, actually, could be wrong. Is Watchmen Amazon or is it Hulu?
Watchmen HBO.
Oh, okay. Well, either way,
but it's Amazon in the UK.
Well, yeah, but like I was saying, either way, I thought it was Hulu, but evidently not. So it don't matter.
Right. Yeah, no, The Watchmen was HBO, which is obviously HBO is connected to Warner Brothers, and so is DC. So that's where that sort of thing comes in. Because The Watchmen is now a DC property because they bought the comic rights to The Watchmen.
Good for them.
Would you like to know the synopsis of Sweet Tooth, the comic book?
Yeah, let's go for it. I'm intrigued.
Okay, so Sweet Tooth follows the adventures of Gus, part deer, part boy, who leaves his home in the forest to find the outside world ravaged by cataclysmic events. He joins a ragtag family of humans and animal children hybrids like himself in search of answers about this new world and the mystery behind his hybrid origins.
She sounds like the music video to Sugar We're Going Down.
Yeah, part deer, part boy, and all Fallout Boy.
Yeah, bro. No, that sounds interesting to say the least. Do you reckon they'll make it like a dark toned kind of film, like not film series, or?
From what I can tell from the first issue of Sweet Tooth, maybe.
Because it's like the concept of like half deer, half boy, finds a ragtag family who are this animals. You know what I mean? It sounds like it could be like a kids movie. Like, did you ever see that Nickelodeon show Marvin with the alien? And it was the guy who did Fred.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was. I don't want Sweet Tooth looking like that.
No, I'm pretty sure from when I read the first comic of Sweet Tooth, pretty sure it's gonna be darker in nature, or at least not. I think it's probably gonna get like the Umbrella Academy treatment, right? It's not gonna be dark.
I was gonna say like,
but it's.
I feel like Netflix. Yeah, when they haven't done it a lot because. Well, obviously for us, Titans is Netflix, but it's not. It's CW, isn't it? Realistically.
Titans isn't Netflix. It was DC streaming app.
Right. Okay, but for us though, it's on Netflix, as in like.
Yeah, but we always get it
Riverdale
in the UK. Yeah, in the UK, it's the same thing as like we get all the things on either Netflix or Amazon, and now Disney Plus. But like before that, it was on Netflix or Amazon. We wouldn't have the other streaming services. But like in the broader world, in America and stuff like that, it would have come from the DC streaming app.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes because there's Netflix originals and then there's things that aren't Netflix originals but are streamed in the UK through Netflix.
Right.
So
yeah.
I got confused as to. But Umbrella Academy and also like a variety of other Netflix originals. I don't think I've ever seen one that's like pretty light-hearted.
No, and Sweet Tooth is about like a world that's had like I'm not sure if it's like a nuclear blast or something that's happened, but like it's about a world that has had a cataclysmic event happen to it.
Yeah.
So it's not 100% lighthearted. I wouldn't say it's lighthearted at all. But I think it has potential to make the show a little bit more lighthearted. It doesn't have to be grim and gritty. But I don't know, maybe read the Sweet Tooth comic. Maybe read a couple of issues of it and see how you like it.
Yeah,
We'll just
definitely.
read the first volume.
It's definitely worth when it comes out, whenever that may be. Do we know when it's possibly looking to be released? Is it 2021, 2022?
I think RDJ posted something on Twitter announcing the poster on May 12th, but he didn't give us a date then, and I don't think there's been any other news about it since. So,
well, I was going to say it could be a good
sure.
watch of the week eventually when it comes out. Like,
yeah. We don't know if it's animated or live action yet either, because the poster doesn't give much
that's
away
a good point. That is a good point. I mean,
it looks animated from the poster, but it's a silhouette still.
Yeah,
so that
so
could have
that's
just
the
been
thing.
from
See,
yeah.
but there's not many like adaptations of comic books into a series, especially on Netflix, that has been animated.
Yeah. We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Everything.
Yeah. Okay. You got any news?
I've got no more news. There's nothing.
No more news.
More to come from me this week.
Okay. This week there. This week is the opportune word there. That is fine. We can move on to the watch of the week if you are ready.
Watch of the week is, granted, this is the second time we've done it, but it's by far against Bloodshot the most excited I've been.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed the watch of the week this week. I found the storytelling really, really compelling. So this week we watched Onward, and hopefully you did too. We will start off with a non-spoiler review, and then as soon as that is done, I will then tell you when we're gonna go into spoiler territory. But just on our thoughts of whether we liked it and if there were good things that you need to look out for and stuff in the film, then this is the non-spoiler part. So without spoiling anything, Nathan, what did you think of this film?
Well, first of all, I feel like, obviously, if anyone hasn't watched it but doesn't care about watching on, I feel like we should just set out that the plot was basically that there's these two kids called Ian and Barley, and they're in a world where magic used to be like the prime source of all of their power. But as the years went on, they developed kind of like how humans did, and now magic isn't really a thing anymore. But
that's the basis premise.
Yeah, that's like the base of the world. Basically, on a big adventure to find like a power source in order to do a spell that brings their dad back from the afterlife. That's like the plot through the trailers. And I think it does a great job telling that story. I mean, again, I don't want to spoil anything yet.
Yeah. So yeah, it's such a great film. I would say the thing about the film is it looks like Disney has had an influence on the Pixar films throughout this. The look is a bit different, but I love it. The storytelling, the directing, the color schemes that we had, the variety of different like mythical creatures that we run into throughout the film.
Yeah, it was
really good.
It's kind of like what Star Wars do with how many different species you see and how many different race of alien humans you see. Like it definitely went in depth with that. And bouncing off what you said about the look of it, like it felt like a Pixar film, but it looked very much like it didn't look like any Pixar film I'd seen.
No,
it was very different.
Yeah, if you watched Inside Out and then thought that was like what Pixar looked like, and then watched this, it would be a disconnect. Yeah, Up as well. Yeah, the stylistic choices here were a lot less, and they looked a lot more like normal humans than other Pixar films, which is funny because no one's a human in this.
Exactly, but the whole idea of it is that they've evolved so much over time that they're now like humans. But because the main characters in Bali, they're elves. It's like they're human. They got a human. What am I looking for? Like a human physique and the human.
Humanoid body.
Yeah, humanoid body. That's what I'm looking for. But obviously just little things like the ears and things that kind of make them look.
Yeah, I think they're as close to humans as we get throughout this film.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're talking about people's top halves, because there's there's a centaur, like, but.
Yeah. Oh man, we'll get onto that later.
Get it.
So yeah, what I want to say is just about this film in the non-spoiler territory is if you've not watched it yet, definitely watch it. It is definitely worth watching. I can see that there may be some critiques that people will say about this film, such as maybe there were points in it that stuff was predictable, but there was also points where I predicted things and then I thought I was wrong, and then they brought it back later and it did work out. And it did happen, and I predicted it. But it wasn't predictable in the way of like, oh well, this is about to happen, and then it happens. It was, this is going to happen, and then you don't know when it's going to happen.
But that's the thing I love. There were so many times we were like, this is going to happen, and then it didn't happen when we thought it would. So then it kind of threw us off the sense. So when it did happen, it was as if, whoa, we didn't expect that, even though we did. Mm-hmm. But it just happened at a different point, which I feel like worked so well.
Definitely. I think that was one of the strong points of the film, where I was like, I thought it was going to be predictable, and in a way there was sort of certain plot elements that I was like, okay, well, they're going to end up doing this, but we never knew when, which is sort of giving us the suspense that we initially need from unpredictable films. I would rate this solidly an 8 out of 10. Actually, we don't do out of 10, we do out of 5. I will give this a 4 out of 5.
I definitely feel like it's a high 4, but I will go 4 out of 5 as well. Like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'd put it in my top 5 Pixar films.
Yeah, I super enjoyed it. What I will say, the only reason it doesn't get a full 10 is because
5.
I really... Yeah, a full 5. Jesus, yeah. I really enjoyed the film, but it didn't wow me. It didn't explode my expectations. It wasn't one of those films where I was expecting to go in and then it gave me either something completely different, or it gave me something that I was just like, I was ready for, but then it like overachieved. It wasn't an overachieving film. It gave what the storyteller was trying to tell, and it did it well. So 4 out of 5.
I feel the exact same way, as in it wasn't overly better than what I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be really good, and it was. But the ending, though, I didn't expect. I will give them that. Like, I didn't expect the ending to be the way it was.
No, I didn't either, which is why I think, I don't know how long we have spoken about it, non-spoilers. We need to tell everyone with this one, you just need to watch it, because we're about to go through a lot of plot elements now. Please go watch it. It's a 4 out of 5 for me, and it's definitely a rewatch for me. Is it a rewatch for you?
The second it comes out on Disney Plus UK, the second I can just watch it with a click of a button, and not having to go through the stress of purchase it, like straight away watching it. Definitely.
Okay, so let's move on to the spoiler part of the review. Man, I love the Manticore in this.
Oh my god, the Manticore is the best.
The Manticore is super funny in this. One of the reasons also I didn't give it a full 5 is just because I liked Barley so much more than I liked Ian throughout this film.
Yeah, there was parts, especially towards the end, where I came to love Ian, but Barley was just such a cool character. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
throughout, which is perfect for the ending, right? It's perfect for the ending because like we think he's cool all the way through, and I'm like, are we supposed to think he's cool? And then towards the end, you're like, oh, okay, so now Ian thinks he's cool as well, but it's because like he never really had a dad, and like his brother was like his dad, which is an amazing plot element throughout this film, and it's really something that the storyteller was trying to tell with it. The director and screenplay writer of this film are the same person, so it's a real personal connection to the film.
So I was just going to mention that. So his name is Dan Scanlon, or Sanlon, is Scanlon. Yeah, and basically the story is pretty much the same as his, in the essence of his father passed away when he was 1 and his older brother was 3, and he had like a tape recording of his dad's voice, and that was all he had. So he kind of based the story on that, which was amazing, honestly.
Yeah, and I think you could tell it was a personal story because it had such heart-wrenching moments in it for an animated film. You really connected with these characters on a human level, even beyond the distracting part that Ian is quite obviously just Tom Holland's voice.
Literally, I was going to say this. So another reason, like, Chris Pratt is Barley, but I never felt like I was hearing Chris Pratt. I always felt like I was hearing Barley.
Yeah,
Ian, 90% of the film, I was hearing Ian. But 10% in that film, it was like...
Holy shit, that's Tom Holland.
Spider-Man, Tony Stark's Dalmec. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it though. There was such good parts of that film, and like it wasn't that distracting, to be honest. It was just the fact that you're like, oh my god, I've just remembered this is Tom Holland.
Yeah, exactly.
And
but
he's done voice acting before, so it's not new to him.
Did you ever see Spies in Disguise? I didn't.
I did not, but he's also done a Studio Ghibli film.
Has he?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the actor...
He voice acted in Dolittle as well.
Oh, yeah, so he did.
He's been doing a lot of voice acting recently.
Which is good, because most actors, like, they can cut their teeth in voice acting and stuff like that, but, like, there are true arts to voice acting. There is a difference between actors and voice actors, but in order to be a voice actor, you need to be a good actor. That's one of the top things in the industry. A lot of people think, oh, I could voice anime, or I could voice animated movies or cartoons and stuff like that. But it's not about being able to do a kooky voice. It's about being able to act and get that emotion through in your voice. And I think he does that really well in this. I think it's so well voice acted all the way through. It's so well voice acted that I forgot there was a real person behind that Manticore character. Can I just come back to the fact that I love the Manticore in this film?
So
I absolutely adore her.
I believe the actress behind the Manticore was Octavia Spencer. Now, I'm not sure what she's been in. I will take a look. So, nope, just Onward, apparently. Ooh, was that a first big role, do you think? No, I've seen her before. There's no way that's... No, she's been in loads more. She's been in Self-Made The Help. Oh, yeah.
Octavia Spencer.
Yeah, she was in Dolittle as well. She was in Zootropolis. She was in Spider-Man, the original one.
I'm going to roast you because you do... me and Nathan both... are not that old, so we have both watched Wizards of Waverly Place, and I'm just going to ask you, who is she in Wizards of Waverly Place? Because I know Octavia Spencer.
Hold on.
And she is definitely in Wizards of Waverly Place.
Hold up.
Oh no, please. You have to get this right, because it's one of my favourite characters.
Bro, I can see her. That's the thing. She's like it's not like the head, but from WizTech. She is from WizTech, yeah. She's the one that goes rogue. She's trying to get Justin Russo to be like...
Shall I tell you her name?
What's her name, bro?
Dr. Evelini.
Bro. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Of course it is.
Why wouldn't it be? I love her. She's amazing. She's been in... I watch a show called... I don't want to get the name wrong, because there's two very similar. But she's in a show called Blackish.
Yeah.
But only for like one episode, and she is my favourite cameo in that episode, because the dad in it is like making all these remarks and stuff like that, and she is just randomly breaking the fourth wall throughout the episode.
Right.
And she's just like a news presenter or something, like breaking the fourth wall throughout the episode. She's one of the funniest actresses ever. But yeah, I'm if the viewers need to know something about me, is I am a sucker for something that you can binge, and I love comedy. So if I can binge sitcoms, I will. I've watched like all of Last Man Standing, the Tim Allen sitcom. I watched Blackish. I'm currently watching The Rookie with Nathan Fillion, but if you know you're a true nerd, you'll know Nathan Fillion is also a true nerd. So anything that he's in, I'll support. But yeah, I love to binge a sitcom every now and then. But yeah, oh my god, of course I'd love the Manticore. I love her. She's amazing.
Well, can I say something? I just like to point something out. We were on about how great the voice acting is, right? But there was one character whose voice we hear, but it's never with... We see the face and we hear the voice, but we never see them together. And that is none other than good old Wilden Lightfoot. Now, that was like... It was so cool because we see the photos of the father and we hear the father's voice, but we only hear the voice in recordings and we only see his face in a photo. Other than that, when
right. Let me explain this, because we are in spoilers.
Yeah.
What Nathan is saying here is the ending. We never get to see the dad.
We see him from the back. We see him physically there.
Yeah, we see him as like a light source.
But we see him in the exact same way Ian does.
Yeah, and it's through Ian's eyes, because Ian in this film never meets the dad. We think throughout this entire film that it's really important to Ian that he sees his dad, because he's never met his dad, and he's really struggling with his confidence issues, and he knows his dad was a confident person. He just wants to be able to meet his dad. And we think that is the most important thing throughout this film, until there is one of these mini climaxes in the second act of the film that reveals that the brother to Ian, Barley, never actually got to say goodbye to his dad. He'd met his dad, but he was too scared when his dad was really ill and he was hooked up to tubes and stuff. He was too scared to go say goodbye to him. And that was so much more impactful, because it was one of those things where it's like, you never got to see him, so he would never be horrible to you for not saying goodbye, or never judge you for not saying goodbye. But like, I was too scared to say goodbye, and I never got to. So in the end, during the climax of the film, Ian gives up his chance to see his father, to let Barley see his father, and say goodbye properly, because Ian already had a father throughout this entire time. Barley, his older brother, really was there for him the entire time. So that's like the emotional stand.
Again, if no one's seen it, basically they had 24 hours to spend with their dad if they got the spell correct. The spell half worked because the crystal they needed shattered. They go on the quest to find the crystal. By the time they complete the spell, they have like a minute left out of 24 hours. So that's the only reason why it's just Barley that meets his father. Yeah,
they have like 5 minutes left, and Ian is trapped under a rock dragon.
So he pretty much.
So he can't go see his dad, but he can see Barley meeting his father.
We don't. We don't.
I think that was the best. I think that was the best ending they could have given us.
Honestly, it's like for me, it's the type of ending of, oh, I wish Ian had met his dad, but I'm so glad we saw this ending instead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's more impactful.
Speaking of fathers, though, we've got the real father, but then we also have a lovely man called Colt Bronco, aka aka the stepfather, aka an actual centaur.
That mum. Oh, she is a brave woman.
So it went from the mother, whose name I believe is Laurel Lightfoot, marrying another elf, to marrying a bloke who's half man, half horse.
And the lower half being a horse. She is a brave woman. Now, the character he's just like a cop, right? He's like I don't even know if he's a sheriff, but he's a cop. And he cares for both the kids, but realistically, the thing that he's looking out for is the mother. He doesn't want the mother to be hurt, or like to be having to put up with the boys, because Barley is known to the town as a bit of a menace, because he's trying to protect all the local landmarks that are from the days where magic was still around.
Yeah, because he's like a big kind of geek in terms of he loves like the idea of magic, and he loves like the playing cards that are now exist over the past, and anything that kind of is still alive with magic. He wants that to stay alive. So
he has like a D&D type board game. But in the real world, there are D&D type board games that are history based, and they're all factual about World War II. You can replay World War II in like bunkers with huge maps and campaigns and stuff, and you can play as foot soldiers. And then there's also D&D, which is completely fictional. But in this world, it's really, really fun because the world progressed like our world did, but magic used to exist. So D&D, in their world, is our version of the historical World War II reenactment board games. So the spells on the cards and in the guidebooks on how to play their version of D&D actually work if you're magic.
So like they're from the past. They are real things that work. But of course everyone just thinks, no one's got magic now, so it doesn't matter.
Right, and I think it's not even that no one's got magic. I think it's just that a lot of people never found out whether they got magic because it doesn't matter to them anymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like the fairies. I'm not sure if they're fairies or pixies or something like that, but they fly in this. But it's like for the first time ever, they've been running around on motorbikes for like in motorbike gangs because it's happens, a world.
That happens a lot as well. It's a case of like, for example, like the centaur or like the manticore. So like these people who have the ability to get to places really fast, like due to who they are, like whether they've got wings, whether they can run really fast regardless, do you know what I mean? But it's all come down to, because of modern day, just driving cars.
Yeah, they're all driving cars, like the Pixies drove motorbikes, and the Manticore got in the mum's Prius.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was everyone's driving a car, but like by the end of the film, which is so this is a really good thing for me, is they were hinting throughout this film, and at the start of the film, they hinted that the horseman, the stepfather, he could, if he wanted to, run up to 70 miles an hour because he's a horse, right? And his father, the stepfather, was like, it's okay. I not me. Those are the old days.
I've got my police van.
I've got my police van. I don't need that. That's cool. And then like they get to a massive field and you think, oh man, this has got to be the bit where like the stepfather runs or something because they've been hinting towards him running, and then he doesn't. And you throughout this film you think, oh, that's such a wasted opportunity that we never got to see. We got the pixies to fly. Even the manticore stretches her wings and flies with the mother, but we never got to see this horse guy actually like run. And then at the end of the film, we finally get sweet salvation because he walks out the house and she says, "Hun, you forgot your keys." And he says, "Oh, it's okay. I don't need the car today." And he runs off, but as he's running off, we see that he's had a ponytail this entire time, and he takes out the bobble that's keeping the ponytail up, and he's got a luscious mane. Yeah, he's got like a luscious mane, and I loved that part of the film.
Waiting for that.
I was like, the filmmakers really know what's going on because you can't expect your audience to connect to a character like you do, but we did. We connected to that character instantly when he thought, oh, this is funny. He's a centaur. He's got he's got a horse body and an upper body of a male, and we connected to him because he was just funny. He was really funny, and we made jokes about him when we were watching the film. And never did we expect that the filmmaker was going to take as much detail into that character as we did, because we really loved him. We really, really wanted to see the character run and have this moment where he ran 70 miles an hour. And then we got it at the end, and he had a luscious mane, and it made it even funnier. And it's the attention to detail for every character in this. We're not introduced to too many characters in this, but the ones we are introduced to, we really get to know throughout this hour and 40 minutes.
I can say exactly.
Hour and 42 minutes. We get to know the characters that are important.
It's perfectly balanced as well. It's like, granted, we learn more about Barley and Ian, but for example, even though we learn less about Laurel, the mother, or the stepfather, it doesn't try to. It acknowledges that, right, these guys aren't as important, so we won't go into too much detail. We'll just give you enough to understand them, as opposed to try and put in like subplots for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think throughout this, the main characters were both brothers, and we did have like one subplot of the mother and the stepfather and the manticore trying to find the brothers. But that was all leading towards the brothers' main plot, right? They were connected throughout a branch. Yeah.
Without them like acknowledging it.
Yeah. So it's the film's so good. The film is so good.
It was very good, and we waited so long because the day it came out, I believe it was a week later, is when the UK went to lockdown.
Yeah.
So like we had no chance to see it, so we've had to wait until it came out, and that was rough. It's been we haven't been able to see it at all, but
yeah,
it was worth the wait.
But we've got to see it now, and we hope you've got to see it. If you've not got to see it, I believe it's available in the US on Disney Plus, and in the UK in other sources. It may be available on streaming in the UK.
It's on the PlayStation Store. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, it's on the PlayStation Store. I think it's on the Xbox and Microsoft Store as well. But Onward is available in the UK in different purchasing rights. I'm not sure where you can stream it, but you can definitely purchase it in the UK. But what I would say for Onward is on the PlayStation Store. I think it was like 20 quid, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah.
If you're in the UK, Google Play, YouTube, and Amazon Prime, $9.99. So that's all I'm saying.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Something I would like to bring up, there are two actors in this film, one called Ali Wong and the other one called Lena Waite. I'm not sure. She's also in Ready Player One. But they play characters called Officer Gore and Officer Spector, aka the two female police officers that we see when Barley and Ian are on their adventures, pretending to be their stepfather. But I don't know whether there's ever been another one in Pixar. I'm not sure, but like they just openly announced that the one female police officer has a girlfriend, which that's some revolutionary stuff for Disney, I think, or for at least Pixar.
Yeah, and it shows up some questions whether this is being released in China. If it is released in China, is that scene cut? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like that she is in that very openly gay, which is amazing. LGBTQ plus every alphabet letter. I'm fully supportive, and I'm so glad that they're putting equal representation into films, especially Disney films, because those were the ones to follow last with getting the actual representation they need. Like they deflected that one in Star Wars and stuff like that. It was, but it's good to see that is something that's happening. But does that mean that scene is going to be cut from China, I wonder? Or
I don't think so, only because I'd like to apologise first of all. Coco actually had an openly gay character. I haven't seen Coco, not fully anyway, so I didn't know. But I don't believe Coco had any issues. I think that was fine, so
yeah.
I'm not too sure.
But I remember the last time we ran into this issue, it was with Star Wars. Star Wars nearly got banned, or did get banned in China, because it had openly.
Okay, so Pixar's Onward reportedly banned by 4 different countries over first openly gay character. I'm not sure what countries that is. Russia reportedly, and other Middle Eastern places, but China's not one of them, so I'm not sure.
Right.
Not sure if they did. I hope they didn't.
Yeah, I hope they didn't as well. I think as many people in every country needs to see this, because this is amazing. I'm not sure if it is China maybe that doesn't allow the open gayness then. I was always sure that it was China that had those like restrictions, but maybe it's like it wouldn't be Russia, would it? Because I'm pretty sure Russia said they were okay with it now.
Well, whatever. Everyone reportedly. So it's not confirmed.
Yeah, everyone needs to get on board with it, because people are born the way they are born, and they like who they like, and that is how it's going to work. And also, if we don't have people who are of the homosexual variety in this country, how are we going to fix the overpopulation problem? That is all I'm saying. So, there is an overpopulation problem in every country. This is how we fix it, with the gays. Support gays. Also, Ali Wong is hilarious, right? Ali Wong is super hilarious, but she just plays a minor role in this. I love Ali Wong. She's one of the super funny comedians.
Well, the other one, which again I forget her name. Her first name is Lena or Lena. So when Ready Player One, the best friend to the main character, who we all think is a guy to start with, but then we find out it's a girl.
Yeah,
it's actually her.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. Something I didn't know.
Yeah, Lena. That's I think they're a Master of None. Lena. I think I've seen Master of None with Lena Waithe in it. But either way, it just had a really good cast. Everyone was really good with their voice acting in it. Including the dad that we never actually got to see voice act with the lips, but still that was good voice acting.
That's the thing. Like for that, we needed to know that this is the only thing that Ian has of his father's voice. So it's like, we can't be... He had to nail that performance just so we could feel that, oh my god, Ian's hearing him laugh, this, so...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think he did such a good job with that.
Well, what I feel like the filmmakers did a great job with as well is the way they showed how Wilden communicated and connected with his kids whilst only being a pair of legs. Because if you guys didn't know, the transformation spell stops halfway through and his legs are just conscious. Don't know where the top half of his body is, but yeah.
But he's basically just a pair of legs for a while
with purple socks.
Yeah,
specifically.
I say for a while, for most of the movie. But I think this is just really well crafted. The story was right, the ending was right. They just hit the mark on so many things. The fact that they weren't sparing with the magic in this, I think it would have been stupid if they were oh hey, he can use magic, but he doesn't.
Yeah, there were so many times that he had to use magic to get over obstacles.
Yeah.
Especially when he was crossing really the canyon or the never-ending pit or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And obviously the rope came off and he believed in himself so much that obviously right at the end he fell, but he caught himself.
Yeah. And I think as well, in the trailers they put so much emphasis on those unicorns looking like crack babies. But we didn't really see that much throughout the film. We saw it here and there.
You saw them at the start eating from the bins and having a scrap.
Yeah.
And then it was at the end then.
They were good though. They were cool. A lot of the stuff in this film had so much texture to it. The world really felt like a world.
Things were relatable as well. They felt relatable, especially because these are different creatures. These are elves and gnomes and it's so many different things. But because they had them develop in the same way that the world developed, you kind of felt like those unicorns. You're not going to see any unicorns running about the streets, but
no,
I
but
tell
you
what,
see some rabid dogs.
I've seen some rabid dogs that look like that, so
yeah.
I'm not gonna put it against anything.
I love the buck teeth that they had and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so good. This was such a great movie. I wonder if they would do something with this like they have with other Pixar properties before, and make some sort of animated series.
I wouldn't dislike that. Because personally, it's as much as I love one, I don't know how they do a successful sequel, just because the main premise of this story wasn't just about magic, but it was about their dad and him discovering, actually Barley is more like a dad to me. I'd rather him see my dad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a sequel I'd still like to have. But in terms of an animated series, it just, again, what would it be about? Because the main premise of this was they're only doing it for their dad.
Right. Yeah. I think maybe with this one, an idea that you could have, but not saying this is what I want to see, because I'm just wondering whether there'd be an animated series. I'm not necessarily saying I want one. I would have loved a Megamind, more Megamind, though. I would have loved a sequel to Megamind. By the way, guys, a fun fact about me, I love Megamind.
I would just like to point out as well, not that it was related, but Megamind is not Pixar. I know you weren't implying it for that, but...
No, yeah.
All the diehard fans, he doesn't think that it's Pixar.
No, I don't think that it's Pixar. I know it's DreamWorks. But just animated in general, I was talking there.
Obviously. Well, it's like with Big Hero 6, they've done an animated series on that instead of a sequel. And I watched the first few episodes, and the first episode was pretty cool because the first episode, it was basically the end of Big Hero 6, but it was bits in between that we never seen. So it was a bit from the end, and then something we never seen, and then another bit that we saw at the end, another bit we never seen. But then after that, it's just pretty dry. I wouldn't want them doing that to Onward.
Right, no. Well, I think what they would do with Onward, just giving it the Hollywood treatment, is I think there wouldn't be that much talk of the dad or anything like that. I think what they would do is they'd have this sort of Kim Possible sort of thing where we're seeing Ian go through high school, and he comes up with problems in high school, and then he goes home, and then when he goes home, he goes on a quest with Barley to find some sort of magical item or do some sort of magical spells, and through doing that quest, he figures out the answers to his problems at high school. right? And that'll probably be what it would be if they do
Yeah.
it.
Well, also, I'd like to point out something that you pointed out, but I think we're all thinking it. You got Wilden Lightfoot,
yeah.
Barley Lightfoot,
Yeah.
and then Ian.
Just Ian, randomly.
Just
what a
Ian.
name.
Why is it just Ian? Like, granted, like, his mother's name is Laurel, but Laurel is still...
Yeah.
I'm not going to say fantasy, because it's not, but...
No, but
it's
it,
more
it
than
could
Ian.
be like short. It could be short for something like Laurelus or something like that. Do you know what I mean? What's Ian short for?
It's Ian, bro.
It's just
And it's
Ian.
like, nothing against the name Ian, but in a fantasy world we have the Manticore, and you have... what was the cop's name? I forget his name. Like,
Colt
just such...
or something.
Yeah, it was...
Yeah, Colt Bronco.
Colt Bronco. Yeah, exactly. And, like,
Yeah.
you know when he sees a friend of his father's...
Yes, yeah.
His name was Gaxton, I believe.
Yeah,
Gaxton.
Gaxton. Yeah.
And then just Ian. Why?
I don't know. I
There
think
was a character called Grecklin, which I believe was the pixie. I'm not sure.
we had a character called Dewdrop.
Yeah, bro. Like, nothing against the name Ian, but in such a fantasy world, I don't understand why Ian was the name they went for.
Well, I mean, I don't know either. He doesn't look like an Ian. He looks like a Jack.
He looks like a Jack, and the father looks like a Jerry or Mark.
Or a Mark, yeah. But just either way, this film hit so many beats and stuff, and it was emotional and really brought some emotions out in you and stuff. And that's hard to do with animation. I think I feel like animation, not that it's ever bad or like, you know, you can have bad animation. Don't get me wrong, but not that animation is bad for drawing out emotions, because I will tell you how emotional I got throughout all of the Batman animated series and Ben 10 especially.
Oh boy.
But yeah, it is a difficult thing to do, especially when you only have an hour and 42 minutes to develop these characters. But yeah, it's so emotional, so really, really good, and super funny. What a funny film.
Well, something I'd love to talk about. We've talked about like the emotions of sadness and the emotions of joy. A little Inside Out reference there. But also, can we just talk about the final, like the climax, the final fight? That was some cool stuff.
Yeah, that was cool. I loved when they took the dragon from the school and made that the dragon's face.
The dragon's face. It was like all these
so
rocks
good.
forming together around this like one big intimidating red O, and then head turns swiftly. It's just the dragon. And then when they made he cracked off the top of his head and made eyebrows so he could look angry.
Oh,
like that was so
good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, super good. I love that. I love the fact that like they plunged the sword into him and you like sort of thought it was done because he was pierced by it, but like you couldn't get the sword all the way through.
Well, that's the thing. The mother stepped up. Like she was full on. Like that. They are my kids. Get gone. And like they showed references back to
it was
like when she was doing the workout at the start. Like they had that music playing, and like she was in there with that sword.
Yeah, I loved that. That was so good.
There was a certain like part where like, Ian kind of did like a Spider-Man pose, and I was like, was that purposeful?
Yeah, was
that necessary?
I don't know, but I love him as Spider-Man, so I will take all the Spider-Man Easter eggs I can get, whether it was necessary or not. Yeah, the film had depth to it, and it had layers, and it looked fantastic. It really was animated fantastic. Of course it would be. It's Pixar. I've really got no bad things to say about it, apart from the fact that his name's Ian. No, I'm joking. I feel like
if there's a bad part about it, which isn't bad, but just if there is, then it's just the fact that sometimes you could like, I was just hearing Tom Holland. Like I didn't. It felt like I was watching Ian's face move, but I was hearing Tom Holland. Whereas Barley, I was always hearing Barley, even though it was Chris Pratt's voice.
Yeah, that was weird as well, because you could sort of hear tones from Chris Pratt that you could recognize that it was Chris Pratt, but like you never felt like you were listening to Chris Pratt, right? you always felt like you were listening to the character Barley, and I think that's just maybe because he did more characterization with the voice. Maybe Tom Holland didn't change his voice that much because it suited the character that he was playing to have the same sort of voice.
Yeah, well, of course he did the American accent still. Like, he didn't go full British.
No.
So that's probably why he did sound a lot more like Spider-Man as well, because like he only really knows one American accent, which is the one he learned for Queen's Spider-Man.
Right. Yes. It worked in this film though, didn't it?
It did. Like, I can't fault it. It's like, it's another one of the things where it's like even back when they were wizards, they all had American accents, and they were like the light bulb. And it's
yes.
like, you know, but you just got to assume that, I don't know, they wouldn't have spoke like that, and we are actually just hearing, like, you know, translations. Same with Star Wars.
Yeah, same with Star Wars. Everyone's got their own, you know, general talk is probably not English, but we're just hearing it as English.
I think I definitely know your answer to this. Favorite character overall?
Who do you think? Go on, give me your guess of who you think my favorite character was.
Well, I can tell you that she had a counterpart which was like a mascot.
Right, the Manticore. I do love the Manticore. She was so good in this. She was so funny. But no, I think my favourite character is Barley.
Yeah, do you think so? I did really like Barley. I really liked, obviously I really liked Colt, but like also just the character of the father, but as like legs, because like obviously they give him that fake body.
Yeah.
So like the way he communicated with his sons through like touching their feet with his foot, and then like he got to the Pixies and like you could see him trying to do that, and they're like, "Hey, what's he doing?" Trying to stay. Do you know what I mean? Like I really like what they did with the character. But I think
I love the accidental expressions from the hoodie.
Yeah, like just when
so
he was like,
good.
"What do you think you're doing?" and it did like kind of sassy flop down, like what do you mean? Or like when they were outside the window and his fist was just shaking.
yeah.
Like, oh, so this good. Mother, he's going down. Like, do you know what I mean? It was cool. I like what they did.
Brilliant. Okay, well, I think that's enough for what we watched. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've pretty much covered everything we loved about the film. Like, I loved how it was the entire. I one thing I do think maybe it's worth mentioning. I love how it was the whole going with Barley's instinct of, trust me, I love this type of stuff. I know that if we go over this path or do this or do that, then we're going the right way. Like, trust Barley's gut because he loves magic, and you know.
Yeah. I like the fact that he was right in the end as well. After they told him he was wrong, I like the fact that he was right. I was like, oh yes.
Because granted, like the it's not even as if they could have just stayed at the school because they needed to get the piece that they found along the way. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, no, definitely. Okay, well, the interaction that you guys have been having with the podcast so far is great. We are still having, views and stuff and some interaction from the community, and it's good to see that people are watching. So, next week with what we watch, Nathan, do you have anything in mind? Because I have something I might want to surprise you with.
Well, I was going to say Scoob.
Ah. Okay, so we've had similar thoughts here, and the fact that I was also going to say Scoob. Yes. So
Scoob. As I've recorded this, and as of possibly you guys listening to this or release of this podcast, Scoob is out on digital. It's meant to be out in theaters, but evidently it can't be. So it is going straight to digital. I'm very much looking forward to watching it. If you guys have seen my film form video on it, I was very excited for it when I reacted to the trailer. And I'm just even more excited to watch it because I love Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, so it's going to be released on the 15th of May, 2020. And as of recording this podcast,
it's the 13th.
It's the 13th. So in 2 days, that should be out. We will purchase Scoob, and we will come back next week with a review for Scoob. Please do watch along with us, as the spoiler territory parts of these reviews are a lot more fun when you can relate to having watched the film. I'm hoping for good things. You know very well that I love the James Gunn Scooby-Doo movies. I think they're fantastic.
I love the James Gunn movies, but at the same time, like we're getting Dynamite in this.
Oh,
Falcon.
Dynamite and the Blue Falcon.
Like,
yeah.
and it just opens my mind. Like, do you think we'll see any other Hanna-Barbera characters? Do you reckon, like, there'll be a reference to Fred
Flintstones or
Flintstones? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, oh, it'd be so cool. It'd be so cool.
It would be great. I would like a maybe I would like a Fred Flintstones. Maybe it could be something like there's a cameo where they have to like go through doors like they do normally in the cartoon, and then they're going through the doors and they go through one door and it's a time machine or something. They see the Flintstones and they see the Jetsons, and then they go back. Oh, that'd be super cool. But hey, maybe we're better filmmakers, and maybe that's not gonna happen.
Imagine like there's just like this random scene where someone's like, oh, my name's like Johnny Flintstone, and he's like, Flintstone, what kind of names are? It's like, I don't know, some of my ancestors did. He was a weird one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like just something like that. Just anything.
Or we just hear in the background, like, you know, they go past a bowling alley, and you just hear yabba dabba doo. I would love that.
Please,
I would love that.
please.
So much. I'm a massive fan of Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and I'm an even bigger fan of Scooby-Doo, and I'm a huge fan of Scooby-Doo with Batman in it. So,
legit, honestly, anything to do with it, like, just yes, please.
Yeah, I like the fact that they called it Scoob as well, because obviously Scooby's real name is Scoobert.
Yeah.
So I just love that. I hope we get like Shaggy saying, "This is my dog, Scoobert."
Well, that's the thing. They might do, because obviously by the trailers it suggests that he got the name Scooby because of Scooby snacks. Like Scooby snacks were a thing that existed before, and that's how Scooby got his name.
Ah, right, yeah.
As opposed to Scooby-Doo just randomly has his own snacks trademarked.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll hold off for later talk on Scoob until we've actually watched Scoob. But that's great. Do you have any final thoughts before I wrap it up?
Just checking to see when this heater's coming, really, bro.
Just checking to see if the heater's coming. Do you know what? It's getting so cold in here.
It's my feet more than anything. They just feel like they're gonna die.
You know, Batman hasn't been back here in a long time in the Batcave, and I'm starting to worry about him. Maybe this is a secret attack from none other than Freeze himself. But, you know, he's not going to get me if these heaters come in time. That's all I'm saying. He's not getting me.
Well, use them as guns. I'd also like to point out, Batman, he doesn't like to talk about his life a lot, but he has a very big desk, so we are staying 2 meters apart in the Batcave. I will say that. But also isolated from everyone. So even if Mr. Freeze does show up, then I'm sorry, mate, but keep your distance. Yeah,
you got to keep your distance, mate. You know, even Mr. Freeze is susceptible to corona. Yeah. And as Nathan said, we are definitely 2 meters apart. It's a giant desk, and of course, with everything Batman does, it's in the shape of the bat signal. So
it is.
So we are heavily apart. But that has been all from live from the Batcave this week. We're about to not be live and edit this video, but if you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, watch all the other social media stuff that we do. Nathan has a channel called Filmform. I have a channel called JP Lee, which will be starting soon, and we will be we'll be in the nerd sphere. We'll be interacting with everyone in the comments. But please do leave a like, comment, subscribe, and then we will see you later.